Back to the big deal of the day. AT&T has bought 8% stake in Tech Mahindra. Tech Mahindra's Vice Chairman and Managing Director Vineet Nayyar joins us exclusively on the phone line. Mr. Nayyar, many thanks for joining us on CNBC TV 18. My first question to you, sir, what milestone has actually triggered this transaction? Because we understand, as per that agreement which was signed in May 2005, this would have expired on the 31st of July.
That's right. I mean, essentially they had a right to buy a certain 8% equity of Tech Mahindra, which was at the time the option agreement was entered into was MBT, at a predetermined price. And as their option time was about to expire, they have exercised this option.
Who is the economic beneficiary, from this, Mr. Nayyar? Because the seller is, MBTM. It's owned both by Mahindra and BT. So who is the economic beneficiary?
Well, I mean, basically the money will be split half-half. That is $35 million, which we've got. 50% will go to Mahindra and 50% will go to British Telecom.
Mr. Nayyar, on what basis was this price reached when the agreement happened? Because while you did mention such an agreement existed in your IPO prospectus, but the price wasn't really mentioned then. So if you could explain to our viewers on what basis this was done. And you also talked about the timeline of July. There seems to be still a couple of months to go for that, if not more.
Yeah, that's right. 2005. I suspect it was very close to what we felt at that time was the fair market value of the equity. Remember that a year or 2 years earlier it was valued at about ₹70. This was about twice that price. And when we went for an IPO a year later, and when the company had improved significantly, at that time we opened the IPO at 365. So the price fixed at that time was a fair price, and since it has gone up in market value, they chose to exercise it.
What do you see the role of AT&T going forward from here, and the role of British Telecom, if I may ask you?
Well, I think AT&T is our second biggest customer. Our business with them is growing. It's one of our, it's a great account to have, and we are proud to be part of their overseas vendors. In fact, I do believe we are their biggest overseas vendor.
What about British Telecom? What about their role?
British Telecom is our biggest client. They are also our major owner of the company.
Is this a precursor of some further stake sale by them?
Well, this was really an option. This was not as if they were selling their equity which they held. This was, they had put away, like Mahindra and Mahindra, about 8% of equity. So it was not really as if they were selling their stake. This had already been earmarked for AT&T. If AT&T had not exercised it, then these options would have lapsed.
Will AT&T get any board representation, Mr. Nayyar, on account of this transaction?
No, AT&T does not have a board representation.
And also, are there any such other option agreements, that you do have with any of your other clients that you could share with us? Are there any other option agreements?
No, no, we do not have any other option agreements with any of our clients.
All right,
other than AT&T.
Is this also then a suggestion that AT&T's exposure to you is going to be enhanced on the back of this transaction that's gone through?
Well, we would hope that this would happen. It is though not necessary.
All right, Mr. Nayyar, we will leave it there. Many thanks for joining us here on CNBC TV 18 with your clarifications. Appreciate your time, sir.
All right, on to another CNBC TV 18 exclusive. Axis Bank and Max New York Life may join hands in more than one way. Apart from a bank assurance tie-up, CNBC TV 18 learns that Axis Bank is in talks to pick up a small stake, more in the form of a financial transaction.